Okay, guys, we got a video today. I decided, because I haven't done this strategy before, I decided I wanted to try it myself, which is the Nuke Rush. Here I am on Ice Cream, the map, which is famous for Nuke Rushes, and I'm going to go for a Nuke Rush. And I've set up a scenario just 3 AIs versus 2 AIs, just because I was having issues with the commanders dying and the game ending for some reason, either because the enemies were getting destroyed or my team was getting destroyed. But I'm just going to nuke over here just to show you. So at the start of the game, I start right here and I build these 3 mexes because I have a walking distance. I can get all 3 mexes without power stalling, and that way I get the most mass income because this build is very tight, or these kinds of things when you're nuke rushing are very tight. You need all the, the income you need. So this has 2 external mexes and 1 hydro or geothermal, whichever you like to call it. I like to call it hydro because I used to play Forged Alliance, so I call it hydro, but it's a geo. I think most people will recognize it as a geo. So I start building windmills, but I noticed it's really low wind right now, so I build a solar. Honestly, I think building a solar and 2 windmills at the start of the game is one of the most versatile energy production start. So then obviously you go bots because it's a cheaper building as well. If you notice, I believe, yeah, it's cheaper, definitely, by 100 units or so. But you'll reclaim it anyways later, so it doesn't necessarily matter, but it's obviously better with bots. I don't even build a Lazarus, though, because I want the build power from all my things, yeah. This build is pretty tight. If I had more space here, I would have built more construction turrets as well, instead of butlers, which are the T2 combat engineers or whatever. Just because the constructor turrets are more mass efficient for build power. So once you build this, your energy start, your 3 units of thing, your factory, you just start pumping out 3 or 4 engineers, maybe 2, depending on how greedy you want to be, or if you want to use constructors. And then your commander is just going to build power. We're aiming for about 300 energy or so, about 300, before we get this, because this is 300 energy. Getting it will double it. And if you notice, it's 1,300 energy to get, so it's kind of energy expensive. It's only 500, so you can reclaim your factory and pretty much pay for the mass income of this. But it's the energy that is very tight, very sensitive. So the first engineer that comes out, we use to build the mexes. We queue it to go build the mexes and then come back. This one starts building more build power, right? To increase build power beyond what we have at the factory and the commander. So we get this one. I've done it with 1 here, but 2 is a little. It depends on what you want to do. I think 1 is just fine. If you build this and then immediately start building that, I think that's fine. Either way, yeah, I've done this kind of build multiple times, or attempts multiple times. I found that it's very common to get, at least on this map, on this section of the map, a 13, 14 minute nuke landing. What was that? No, 14, 15, yeah, 14-ish minute nuke landing, and then a 12 or 13-minute silo is more consistent. But if you're for some, I don't know what caused exactly this build to get a very good nuke timing of 13 minutes and 11-minute silo, I believe. I think it's because I start building when I'm about to build my hydro geothermal power. I build these solar panels, so I'm not taxing my I'm not taxing my power income. And I just reclaim them afterwards to get the mass back. So effectively, I'm just getting free energy. So we reclaim the mass factory here so we can get this. And I have my commander building these to... this is kind of a mistake. You probably shouldn't do this because it's stalling this. But I completed it anyway. So we then have this guy just start building these solar panels so that we use the mass to get more temporary energy. See, we're only up just about below 300. If this was 300 right now, if we were 1 or 2 solar panels ahead in building, I think this would have been even slightly faster. Also, this, I don't know if this one's actually able to reach that. So, small, since this one can't reach, you might as well have just built this one, and you would be able to get up slightly faster. But already like 11 minutes for the silo is pretty good for my attempts at least. So once you get the power, you have a massive power income spike, so you build the converters. And here I start expanding my build power because I want to go T2 next. All right. Now, one thing I sort of figured out is that you actually want to keep your commander up for as long as possible, because at the bottom left, it tells you he generates 2 mass income. So you want to keep your commander actually alive for as long as possible before you actually eat him. I will eat my commander, reclaim it, only when I'm out of all other reclaim options. So I have the solar bank that is basically mass tied up that I want to reclaim and put into this before I actually eat my commander, because I'm getting 2 mass income during this whole time, and that's speeding up my building up just a little bit before I actually sack the commander and eat it. And here, because we're not using a lot of energy, we can now build converters like more easily. We're floating resources. All right, see, this is about to expire, and so I have my commander ready to be eaten because now I'm mass stalling. Yeah, when you play these things, you kind of play it by ear, by eye, because you sort of look at what your reserves are at the top and you build what you need. And if you're floating resources, you build power. Okay, so we're low on mass, so we have to sack the commander. So that will get us our T2 bot faster, which will get our now upgrade the mexes next. The metal extractor, the mex. Yeah, have him go over, get the metal extractor. And I start building butlers here instead of build turrets, just because I wanted mobile build power, but they are slightly less mass efficient for build power. So actually, this is not the most efficient, technically, route you can do. And here we're power stalling again. Like I said, this build is kind of difficult to execute. Like, it's a balancing act. It's definitely a balancing act. So as far as I know, once you get as you're getting your mexes up here, you want to get to 600 energy or more. Ideally, a little more than 600, maybe 700 might be best for this. 700 or 800 would be good, but I think 600 is the minimum, because what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade the mexes. I'm also going to rebuild a second T2 constructor, so I can have one go up here and another go out, get these other ones here. We're going to build another one just to get even more build power as well. So yeah, one thing you can do is you can have your T2 walk before the building completes, so that these other guys complete the building and this guy's already halfway to the next location. I don't know if I do this all the time. I kind of forget. It's kind of hard to micro, even though yeah, I think I have this guy do it because he was already closer, and have this guy go up to get the hydro. Yeah, see, we're about 600 energy, and we have most of the mexes up, so that way we can. I decided it's time to get the hydro or the geothermal. See, this one, it's only 1600 mass, but it's also 27,000 energy, so very heavy on energy income. What you can do is you can eat your T2 factory again to pay for the mass income of this, but you're going to suffer on energy. So maybe if I had spent the time to build one more solar, that might have helped, or if I built it simultaneously, that might have helped. But it's kind of hard to tell. I think 600 was the bare minimum for this. Maybe if you have an additional, like, I could be building butlers right now, or like an engineer, just squeeze one more build guy out, use the leftovers from the reclaim to build solar panels or T1 solar panels, and get some more energy, because this is it's a little tight on energy. Yeah, because when these guys are building, it stalls this side. But once this is up, you get your T2 converter here. I am already starting it so that they'll just transfer over. Yeah, these guys finish and their job is done over there. They need to come back. We're going to get the converter. And at this point, once you have your what is effectively T3 or T2, T2 power gen and T2 converter, one of each, you can start the nuke. And here I'm going to start it at about 9 minutes, although I don't have the full production on it just yet. But it's more or less starting right now at 9 minutes, more or less. See, we're floating on power, but once this is up and we send everyone down to work on the nuke, that will be eating up most of the consumption of the power. And here I'm squeezing out just a little bit more build power here now. Yeah, we can see I didn't need to exactly eat the factory just yet because I wasn't stalling on power or mass. I kind of forgot. I thought I would eat it now, but no, you eat it when you're actually stalling. I think building the second one here is a mistake. I don't think you need to do this. I think that was a wasted build power, but this is up to this point, like right before, sorry, I'm going to pause. Right before you start building this is actually the same as an eco build. You're pretty much doing the same thing. You're just spamming out that economy, right? Only at 9 minutes does it become a nuke rush, is when you actually decide to start building this. So at that time, when you have one of these T2 power and T2 converter, that's still an eco build. And if this was an eco build at this point, instead of building this nuke, I would have just plopped down another fusion reactor here. I would just plop that right down, and I would go for 2 or 3 T1 fusions total before I go for a fuse. But that's where the split off occurs between an eco build and a nuke rush, I guess. See, the nuke rush stalls your economy growth. You gotta put these resources into the nuke. Here I put the metal storage because I know I'm gonna eat this, and it's gonna pump me over the limit. So I gotta get that ready. Because we will stall en masse without eating this. And I'm also trying to pump out just a little more build power at the same time. Get what I can from that. Eat it and go. Yeah, we're really close to stalling, so that we gotta really eat this right now. This exact build is actually a little map dependent because we are using the geo. If this wasn't ice cream or a geo map, you wouldn't build this. Instead, you would start the fusion instead with 300 power. I think 300 power is a little low for that because if I recall, the T1 geo is 1300. Yeah, it's 1300 power. Whereas this is almost double. So if you're doing, if you don't have geo, I would go for 400-ish, 400 to 500, up to 600 power, just by building these advanced solars. Before you go fusion, if this was an eco build on like, or just any nuke eco build without geo. So this thing finished at 11 minutes, and it will be ready at 13 or so. I'm just once it's finished, you got to make sure you actually float a little bit of resources because this thing takes 8 metal per second and about 1,000 metal or 1,000 energy per second. So you got to let yourself float a little bit, and I have these guys just doing nothing because that's what you got to do. I'm just squeezing out a little extra resources into economy, so I just transition into economy after building the nuke. After you build a nuke, also, if you're playing a team game, it's a good idea to build anti-nuke immediately after this, because if you can build a nuke, that means the opponent can build a nuke. And if they're doing the exact same play, you want to have that anti-nuke up. So if this was a team game, an actual team game, instead of bots, I would build that anti-nuke. In fact, I will show I'll probably show in a couple more videos a nuke rush without geo and a nuke rush in a game, actually. I think I have those already played, and so I can make videos on them. Hooray. Yeah, once it's done, yeah, you just start ecoing, and once that's ready at 13 minutes, 1302, 1303, we fire that. Come on, yeah, fire. 1308 for the actual command, but it's close enough to 13. The 13-minute nuke rush. I did notice in the replay here that we're gonna speed it up. I targeted like the middle of the base here, but it clips onto the mountain range here. So if you're playing this map, I think it's better to go over past this half line here. Yeah, so it clips right there. I think it's better to hit over here than up closer. It's giving you a little more space over the mountain, just a little bit. And that's pretty much the nuke rush, I guess. You follow it up with whatever you want. Like air is good. Air is probably the best one to follow it up with. That's what I did in this bot game. But if that was a player, I mean, you don't have to hit the back line always. You can hit the front line, and that's just as good. You can rely on your team to scout for you, or you can just fire blind. If it's 13 minutes, it's very hard to have anti-nuke up. You have to like really dedicate yourself to building that, and it's kind of not common to do that. It's already not common to do nuke rushes usually, unless it's like Ice Cream, which is this map right here. Yeah, Ice Cream. Yeah. That's pretty much it for the nuke rush. Also, notice I left my commander up. Sometimes I forget to do this, but look at that, 0%, 18 metal well. You can resurrect your commander. Yeah, see, I have basically 3 power generators, three advanced power generators, so 3,000, I guess, 3,500 power to go for a level, AFUS, advanced fusion. In fact, I'm doing so well in the economy, I don't have enough build power because I ate my factory. I need to rebuild the factory. But at this point, I've delivered my point. 13-minute nuke rush. There you go. That's how you do it on Ice Cream with a geothermal. All right. Thanks for watching, I guess.